Have you ever wondered how the secrets carried by the most beloved stars of Hollywood's golden age, including their struggle with a terrible illness, shaped their legacies? From Rock Hudson's groundbreaking decision to speak publicly about his diagnosis to Ian Charleson's bold choice to reveal his truth in his final days. Here are 25 golden age actors, actresses who died of terrible, intimate disease. 1. Rock Hudson. Born in a quiet town in Illinois on a chilly November day in 1925, Rock Hudson seemed destined for greatness. With striking good looks, a commanding presence, and an undeniable charisma, he quickly rose to become one of the brightest stars of Hollywood's golden age. His name became synonymous with glamour and romance, gracing films like Magnificent Obsession, Giant, and the sparkling comedies he shared with Doris Day. Audiences adored him, yet few knew the secrets he carried. Behind the dazzling smile was a man fighting to reconcile his public persona with his private identity. Hudson's charm masked the isolation of a life lived in secrecy. As whispers of his personal struggles grew, they collided with an unyielding era that allowed no room for deviation from societal norms. Then came the diagnosis. In June of 1984, Hudson learned he had a terrible, intimate disease, a condition shrouded in fear and misunderstanding. The revelation shook him, yet he made a decision that would ripple through history. He went public. Hudson's disclosure in 1985 sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, breaking the silence surrounding the epidemic. Even as his body weakened, his resolve remained unshaken. He became a symbol, a star who used his platform to ignite conversations about a disease the world preferred to ignore. On October 2nd, 1985, Rock Hudson's light dimmed, but his impact endured. His bravery marked a turning point in the fight against the terrible, intimate disease, forcing a reluctant world to face an unrelenting truth. Was it courage or necessity that drove him to speak out? Perhaps both. 2. Anthony Perkins. Born on an unassuming April day in 1932, Anthony Perkins was the kind of actor who left a mark that time could never erase. Known for his unnerving portrayal of Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, Perkins mastered the art of inhabiting characters that danced on the edge of light and shadow. Yet his brilliance extended beyond horror, with early performances earning him acclaim and an Academy Award nomination. Off-screen, Perkins's life was a labyrinth of secrets. Like many of his peers, he lived in a world that demanded conformity, forcing him to bury parts of himself to preserve a career that thrived on illusion. Diagnosed with a terrible intimate disease in 1990, Perkins chose silence. He shielded his truth from a society that still treated the disease as a mark of shame. It was only as the end drew near that he let the world glimpse his vulnerability, sharing his gratitude for the love of his family. On September 12, 1992, Perkins passed away, leaving behind a legacy that was as enigmatic as the characters he portrayed. In his quiet revelation, he lent his voice to countless others who had suffered in silence. What secrets lie in the spaces between an actor's words and their truth? 3. Robert Reed. Born in 1932, Robert Reed's career seemed destined for the limelight. With classical training and a natural ease in front of the camera, he became a household name through his role as Mike Brady on The Brady Bunch. He embodied the image of the perfect father, a figure of warmth and stability that charmed audiences across the nation. But Reed's public persona was a carefully constructed facade. Privately, he wrestled with his identity in a world that demanded silence from those who strayed from societal norms. His diagnosis of a life-altering illness in 1991 became another secret he carried, one that was revealed only after his death. On May 12, 1992, Robert Reed passed away, his body weakened by colon cancer, exacerbated by the illness. Reed's death was a poignant reminder of the chasm between public perception and private reality. In an industry where image is everything, how many others walked the same tightrope he did? 4. Wayland Flowers. Born in 1939, Wayland Flowers was a master of reinvention. With his iconic puppet Madame, a sharp-tongued diva dripping with wit and camp, Flowers carved a unique space in the world of comedy and ventriloquism. Madame became a mouthpiece for the audacious humor that audiences adored, while Flowers himself remained a quiet force behind the scenes. His performances celebrated defiance, challenging conventions, and embracing the flamboyance of queer culture. But even a man who dared to push boundaries could not escape the shadow of a terrible, intimate disease. Diagnosed in 1987, Flowers continued to perform as his health declined, using his art as both shield and weapon. Wayland Flowers died on October 11, 1988, at the age of 48. His legacy lives on through his audacious artistry and his unyielding spirit. What would Madame have said about a world that stifled her creator, even as it celebrated her? 5. Brad Davis. Born in 1949, Brad Davis was a man destined to bring raw emotion to the screen. In Midnight Express, his haunting portrayal of Billy Hayes captivated audiences and critics alike, earning him a Golden Globe and comparisons to legends like James Dean. Yet his rise to fame was shadowed by personal struggles that mirrored the intensity of his performances. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness in 1985, Davis faced his battle with the same determination that defined his career. He kept his diagnosis private, fearing the repercussions of a revelation in an unforgiving industry. As the disease took its toll, he made a harrowing choice. On September 8, 1991, at the age of 41, Davis ended his life through a self-inflicted end, a decision that underscored the despair and isolation faced by many during the height of the epidemic. His death was a stark reminder of the human cost of terrible, intimate disease, a disease that robbed the world of talent and dreams. What stories remain untold, locked away by fear and stigma? 6. Denholm Elliott. Born in the heart of London on the last day of May in 1922, Denholm Elliott was a master of transformation. Known for his charm and depth, Elliott graced the silver screen with a sophistication that rivaled his contemporaries. His portrayal of Marcus Brody in the Indiana Jones films cemented his place in Hollywood history, blending humour and heart to create a character beloved by audiences worldwide. But behind the impeccable facade lay a personal struggle. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness in 1987, Elliott fought silently as his health waned. On an October day in 1992, tuberculosis claimed his life, but the disease that weakened him was far more insidious. What remains is the legacy of a man who brought humanity to every role he touched. 7. Larry Kert. The name Larry Kert may not be on every marquee, but his voice rings eternal. Born under the Californian sun in December of 1930, Kert found his destiny on the Broadway stage. As Tony in the groundbreaking West Side Story, his performance defined a generation, blending youthful passion with haunting vulnerability. Songs like Maria and Tonight, sung with unmatched fervour, immortalised his name in the annals of musical theatre. Yet the spotlight dimmed after his star-making role. Despite his undeniable talent, he never reached the same dizzying heights again. In the late 1980s, Kert's resilience was tested by a terrible, intimate disease diagnosis. Even as the disease took its toll, he continued to perform, his voice unwavering until his passing in June of 1991. 8. Amanda Blake. Known to millions as Miss Kitty Russell of Gunsmoke, Amanda Blake was a trailblazer in a man's world. Her portrayal of the saloon proprietress brought warmth and strength to a genre dominated by rugged heroes. Blake's fiery spirit and compassion transformed Miss Kitty into a symbol of resilience and independence. Beyond the screen, she championed wildlife conservation, dedicating her life to the protection of endangered animals. But her death in August of 1989 unveiled a hidden battle. Initially attributed to oral cancer, her passing was later revealed to be due to complications from a terrible, intimate disease. The revelation shocked fans, highlighting the indiscriminate nature of the epidemic and shedding light on her courage. 9. Leonard Frey. Brooklyn-born, Leonard Frey, whose talent radiated through stage and screen, left an indelible mark on the arts. As Motel the tailor in Fiddler on the Roof, Frey's performance captured the bittersweet essence of tradition and change. The role earned him an Academy Award nomination, cementing his place among the greats of his time. Frey also broke barriers in theatre, starring in the revolutionary play The Boys in the Band. At a time when stories of gay men were rarely told, Frey brought authenticity and vulnerability to a groundbreaking narrative. Diagnosed with terrible intimate disease in 1987, he persisted in his craft, delivering memorable performances until his passing in August of 1988. 10. Paul Jabara. Born in Brooklyn in January of 1948, Paul Jabara was a larger-than-life figure with a talent as vibrant as the disco anthems he created. His Oscar-winning song Last Dance, performed by Donna Summer, became a defining moment of the disco era, blending exuberance and emotion in a way only Jabara could achieve. Another of his masterpieces, It's Raining Men, became an anthem of empowerment and celebration, cherished by the LGBTQ+ community. Jabara's theatrical flair extended beyond music. He was a performer, a storyteller, and a visionary who embraced life's joys and sorrows with equal fervour. Diagnosed with a terrible intimate disease in the 1980s, Jabara's light began to fade, but not before he left an indelible mark on the world. He passed away in September of 1992, a few months shy of his 45th birthday. 11. Dack Rambo. Beneath the Californian sun, in the modest town of Earlimart, Norman J. Rambo entered the world on a November day in 1941. Known to millions as Dack Rambo, his name would come to signify a blend of charisma and allure rarely seen since the golden age of Hollywood. With his piercing gaze and effortless charm, Rambo captivated audiences in television dramas like Dallas and Another World. His on-screen presence evoked the timeless magnetism of stars like Cary Grant, pulling viewers into the heart of every story he told. But behind the impeccable facade lay a personal struggle. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness in 1987, Elliott fought silently as his health waned. On an October day in 1992, tuberculosis claimed his life, but the disease that weakened him was far more insidious. What remains is the legacy of a man who brought humanity to every role he touched. Rambo's light flickered but never faded, even as his health declined. On a spring day in 1994, at just 52 years old, he succumbed to complications from terrible, intimate disease. His advocacy, born from personal anguish, became a legacy of resilience and empathy. How many lives were touched by his defiant stand against stigma? 12. Kevin Peter Hall. The towering silhouette of Kevin Peter Hall was impossible to ignore. Born in the steel-grey landscapes of Pittsburgh in May of 1955, Hall's 7-foot 2-inch frame carried him not only above the heads of his peers, but into the annals of cinematic history. Draped in the otherworldly guise of the Predator, he transformed an alien menace into a hauntingly human character. His craft, honed with grace and precision, resurrected the artistry of Golden Age monster actors like Lon Chaney and Boris Karloff. In films like Harry and the Hendersons, Hall revealed the soul behind the mask. Whether playing a predator or a protector, his performances radiated depth and emotion. Off-screen, his gentle demeanour contrasted sharply with his towering stature, endearing him to all who knew him. A car accident brought tragedy to Hall's life. A contaminated blood transfusion during treatment introduced a life-altering illness to his system. In 1991, at the age of 35, Hall's extraordinary life was cut short by terrible, intimate disease-related pneumonia. His legacy looms as large as his frame, a reminder of how talent and heart can transcend the physical. Who will carry forward the spirit of performers like him, who turn masks into mirrors? 13. Tom Villard. Born in November of 1953 in the idyllic Hawaiian town of Waipahu, Tom Villard's laughter echoed through every role he played. His bright smile and easy charm brought joy to audiences in films like One Crazy Summer and Heartbreak Ridge. On television screens, he radiated the approachable warmth of a neighbour or a friend, evoking memories of the Golden Age's beloved everyman actors. In 1992, Villard's life took a somber turn. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness, he chose transparency, speaking openly about his condition at a time when many hid in silence. Villard's candour became his crusade, dismantling stigma and bringing human stories to the forefront of public consciousness. In the autumn of 1994, Villard succumbed to terrible intimate disease-related pneumonia at the age of 40. His bravery in the face of adversity became as much a part of his legacy as his comedic talent. His courage to turn vulnerability into a force for change remains an enduring lesson. 14. Ian Charleson. From the cobblestone streets of Edinburgh, Ian Charleson rose to global acclaim as Eric Liddell in the celebrated film Chariots of Fire. Born in August of 1949, Charleson's portrayal of the devout Scottish runner brought a quiet intensity to the screen, embodying an era of heroes forged in passion and faith. It was a role that seemed crafted for him, a man whose every word carried the weight of conviction. Beyond the silver screen, Charleson found his true calling on the stage. As Hamlet or Skye Masterson, he breathed life into characters, captivating audiences and critics alike. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness in the mid-80s, Charleson worked tirelessly, his artistry undimmed even as his health waned. In January of 1990, Charleson passed away at just 40 years old. By choosing to publicly announce the cause of his death, he shattered barriers, challenging society's silence on terrible, intimate disease. His legacy endures not just in the stories he told, but in the truth he dared to share. 15. Timothy Patrick Murphy. In the quaint New England city of Hartford, Connecticut, Timothy Patrick Murphy began his brief but brilliant journey. Born in November of 1959, Murphy brought sincerity and charm to the screen, most notably as Mickey Trotter in the iconic television series Dallas. His portrayal of the kind-hearted farmhand resonated with audiences, channeling the heartfelt storytelling of Hollywood's golden yesteryears. Murphy's talents extended beyond the confines of the ranch, gracing films and other productions with his unmistakable presence. Yet his promising career was overshadowed by the devastating news of a life-altering illness. As his health deteriorated, he became a living testament to the toll of the epidemic on the entertainment world. On a winter's day in 1988, Murphy passed away at the tender age of 29. His story, marked by untapped potential and quiet dignity, stands as a somber reminder of the lives cut short by terrible, intimate disease. His presence may have left the screen, but his impact lingers in the hearts of those who remember him. 16. Franklyn Seales. Born on the 15th of July, 1952, Franklyn Seales emerged from the quaint beauty of Kalliaqua, St. Vincent, to claim his place among the stars. He embodied a charm and intellect that seemed otherworldly. As Dexter Stuffins on the beloved sitcom Silver Spoons, his razor-sharp wit and polished demeanour captured hearts across America. It was as though he carried the wisdom of an age gone by, a modern-day incarnation of golden-era elegance, akin to Gene Kelly's magnetic grace. Yet his talents reached far beyond comedy. In The Trial of the Moke, Seales' portrayal of an ambitious lawyer unveiled a depth few could rival, his performance etched with unyielding passion and raw humanity. A Juilliard graduate who had graced stages and screens alike, his versatility promised a legacy destined to endure. But the shadow of illness loomed. Diagnosed with a terrible, intimate disease, Seales fought with quiet dignity, his artistic flame undimmed even as the illness claimed him on the 14th of May, 1990. At just 37, he left the world too soon, a poignant reminder of the epidemic's indiscriminate reach. 17. Cookie Mueller. Born Dorothy Karen Mueller on the 2nd of March, 1949, the woman known as Cookie Mueller defied convention at every turn. A child of Baltimore's gritty streets, she became a muse for the counterculture, a face that illuminated John Waters' most daring films. In Pink Flamingos and Female Trouble, her performances were raw, unapologetic, and fearless, echoing the rebellious spirit of icons like Katharine Hepburn in her most defiant roles. But Mueller was more than a performer. Her writing crackled with humour and pathos, capturing the frenetic heartbeat of an era in works like Walking Through Clear Water in a pool painted black. Through essays and stories, she painted vivid portraits of chaos, love, and survival. Her words a testament to the indomitable human spirit. Even as a life-altering illness coursed through her veins, she continued to create, her voice undiminished until the very end. On the 10th of November, 1989, she succumbed to the illness, leaving behind a legacy as raw and unforgettable as her life itself. 18. Tom Fuccello. In Newark, New Jersey, on the 11th of December, 1936, a child was born whose journey would lead him to the gilded world of television. Tom Fuccello's presence in Dallas, as Senator Dave Culver, was marked by a depth that drew audiences into the intricate web of power and emotion. His performances exuded an understated gravitas reminiscent of Hollywood's classic leading men. Fuccello's career spanned decades, a testament to his ability to inhabit characters with authenticity and nuance. Whether in dramas or more subdued tales, he carried with him a quiet strength that resonated deeply with viewers. Yet beneath the polished exterior lay a private struggle few knew of. Diagnosed with terrible, intimate disease, he chose to shield his battle from public eyes, continuing to work with unwavering professionalism. On the 16th of August, 1993, at the age of 56, Fuccello passed away. His loss was a stark reminder of the countless lives claimed by the epidemic, hidden struggles that often went unnoticed until it was too late. 19. David Oliver. On the 31st of January, 1962, in Concord, California, David Oliver's journey began. A man of profound talent, he carved an indelible impression on audiences with his portrayal of Sam Gardner in A Year in the Life. With a rare ability to project vulnerability and warmth, he drew comparisons to James Stewart, the quintessential star of Hollywood's golden age. Oliver's versatility shone in roles across series like Another World and The Colbys. He brought a quiet intensity to his performances, infusing each character with a humanity that resonated deeply. But just as his star began to rise, a life-altering illness cast a dark shadow over his life. Diagnosed at the height of his career, Oliver faced his illness with courage and grace, continuing to inspire those around him. On the 12th of November, 1992, the world lost David Oliver at the tender age of 30. His brief but impactful career remains a poignant reminder of what could have been, a light extinguished far too soon. 20. Ben Piazza. Born in the southern warmth of Little Rock, Arkansas, in the heart of summer 1933, Ben Piazza was a man who wore many masks. On the screen, he delivered performances layered with emotional depth, embodying characters that mirrored the complex human spirit. His roles in indie gems and poignant dramas harkened back to the golden days of Hollywood, when the likes of Brando and Clift illuminated the screen with their searing honesty. Yet Piazza's artistry extended far beyond acting. A mentor and guide, he taught the craft he cherished, shaping the lives of countless budding performers. They carried his lessons like lanterns, lighting their own paths in the theatrical world. But the brilliance of his life dimmed too soon. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness in the turbulent 80s, Piazza's battle with terrible, intimate disease-related cancer ended in September 1991. His art lives on, whispered through the roles he played and the actors he inspired. 21. Antony Hamilton. From the grey skies of Liverpool to the glittering allure of Hollywood, Antony Hamilton's journey was one of striking contrasts. Born in 1952, Hamilton first commanded attention as a model, his angular features gracing the pages of international magazines. But it was his transition to acting that revealed a deeper dimension. In the television series Cover Up, he evoked the elegance of bygone matinee idols, his presence magnetic yet understated. Hamilton's defiance of societal norms added another layer to his legacy. Open about his identity in an era of concealment, he stood as a beacon of integrity, but the tides of fate were unrelenting. In the spring of 1995, at just 42 years old, he succumbed to terrible, intimate disease-related pneumonia. Even in death, Hamilton remains a symbol of courage, a reminder that elegance is as much about authenticity as it is about beauty. 22. Tom McBride. October 1952 saw the birth of Tom McBride in West Virginia, a man whose charisma found its way to both film and fashion. His boyish charm and classic good looks made him a favourite, but it was his role as Mark in Friday the 13th, Part 2, that cemented his place in cinematic memory. As the wheelchair-bound counsellor, McBride brought vulnerability to a genre often devoid of it. The allure of his Hollywood star was matched only by the breadth of his modelling career. Yet behind the polished surface lay a battle he faced with unflinching resolve. Diagnosed with a terrible, intimate disease, McBride chose to turn his fight into advocacy. He lent his voice and face to documentaries, humanizing an epidemic often shrouded in stigma. By September 1995, his light faded at 42 years, but his bravery continues to inspire understanding and compassion. 23. Richard Frank. Born in Boston on a winter's day in 1952, Richard Frank carried the weight of storytelling on his shoulders. His portrayal of Father Joseph McCabe in St. Elsewhere lingered in the hearts of viewers, a performance steeped in humanity and moral conflict. Inspired by the raw intensity of Golden Age legends, Frank channeled their spirit into his own craft, creating characters that felt achingly real. But life often wove tragedy into its narrative. By August 1995, complications from terrible intimate disease claimed his life at 42. Though his journey was brief, Richard Frank's work resonates still, a testament to the enduring power of authenticity on screen. 24. John Megna. Queens, New York, 1952. John Megna came into a world he would later depict so poignantly on film. Sharing the screen with luminaries like Gregory Peck, Megna left an indelible impression on a story that continues to echo through the decades. Though the brightness of his early fame faded, Megna found new purpose in teaching, cultivating creativity in others. Diagnosed with a life-altering illness in the 80s, he bore his illness with quiet resolve until September 1995, when terrible, intimate disease took him at 42. His work stands as an enduring monument to his talent and resilience. 25. Kenneth Nelson. From the quaint corners of Rocky Mount, North Carolina in 1930, Kenneth Nelson grew into a pioneer. His performance as Michael in The Boys in the Band shattered conventions, bringing the lives of gay men to mainstream cinema. With an emotional range that paid homage to icons like Dean and Clift, Nelson's craft was both daring and tender. Theatregoers on both sides of the Atlantic witnessed his versatility, yet his contributions extended beyond performance. Nelson's willingness to embody stories that others shunned laid a foundation for more inclusive narratives. His journey ended in London, October 1993, at 63 years of age, yet his legacy as a trailblazer endures.